Welcome to our channel again. This is Love Fix. This is a place where we have a touch of spirituality to all the issues of our heart. I hope you were blessed with the first session or the first series. This second series is going to be a blessing to you. Just stay glued to it, get somebody and just plug in because God has a word for you. Today we are talking about the symptoms and the signs of soul tie. See, everything has a sign, has an indicator. If your battery is going low, they give you an indicator. If your fuel is going down, they give you an indicator. If you have ill health, there are indicators, okay? High blood, high temperature, and all that gives you an indication that something is not right. In the same way, soul tie has indicators. You need to know the indicators, and that's the reason for this video today. God richly bless you and stick around.
By my hands and said, she cried out, I love you. She cried out, I love you.
Because soul tie affects the soul directly, it is so wise we pay attention to what happens in and out of our soul in quest of searching for signs and symptoms. Just like any other sickness, like malaria, you don't look for malaria somewhere in the bone, you look for it in the blood, right? If you are looking for arthritis, you go right in the joint. If you are looking for what's the COVID, okay, you go right into the lungs or anything relating to the thoracic section. So every sickness has a site of action. The same way, soul tie has a site of action. The site of action is the soul. You see, is the soul, the very seat of your spirit. And the soul is made up of three things. It's made up of the intellect, the will, and the emotions. Now, when you are entangled with soul tie, you are deprived of all these three things. And it's a major sign you have to watch out for. Because if you are entangled, you don't have the willpower again. You can't take decisions for yourself again. You have another person taking decisions on your behalf. Everything about you is about the other person. You see, you are externally controlled. You are taken out of yourself. Some of you can sleep, you can eat. People even go mad. You see, I call it emotional imbalance. You see, you can't control yourself again. It's a major sign. Because you need your will to take major decisions, and because your will is taken away from you, you can't take any decision for yourself. That's why you see people making crazy decisions. Where you go close down a whole account, give to somebody, you neglect your children. I quite handle a case where a mother of three, neglected the three children and went chasing for a man somewhere. He left the children, left the husband, chasing for a man somewhere. And you see, these are signs that things are not all right. You see, you can tell from the emotional imbalances. The person is no longer himself or herself because your self-governance is taken away from you. You see, it affects your look. People don't pay attention to their looks again. They become drunkards. Some become prostitutes. Some become, all kinds of things because somebody else is taking control of your governance system. And that's one major sign to look out for. So people can't sleep, people can't take simple decisions. You see, because your very self is taken away from you. It's being controlled somewhere. It's a major sign. It's a very major sign. What we call head over heels sometimes is soul tie. It's stupidity. It's spiritually manipulated. So you have to pay attention to it. Yeah, because love has itself. You see, love can be controlled. All right, the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet. In the same way, the spirit of a lover is subject to the lover. It said, guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it comes the issues of life. Every issue of life comes from the soul. So you see, if you don't guard it well, every issue that will stem out of your heart will be corrupted. And that's what soul tie does. It corrupts the decisions of your heart. It corrupts the decisions of your mind. Your intellectual abilities are corrupted. Your orientation generally is interrupted. So it's a major sign we have to watch out for. Financial difficulty or economic hardship is a major sign to look out for in diagnosis soul tie. You see, this scripture helps us to understand what I'm trying to say. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, the verse 9. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. A good reward for their labor. So we have a labor that produces good reward, right? Now, if you are entangled with the wrong person through soul tie, what happens is that every labor becomes a false labor. You don't get any result out of it. So you see, people are married, okay, legally with a legit man, but because spiritually they are not tied together, all right, what happens is that their labor becomes a false labor. It's simple as that. It's a simple thing. You see, let me just help you understand this thing clearly. You see, when you are joined together as husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, you see, there's a synergy that must produce results. But most of the times, that synergy doesn't produce any result because one partner or both partners are already joined somebody else. The living and the cleaving doesn't produce any result. Not every labor will produce a good reward. Because we see it all the time where people join themselves together with people and after a while they regret, say, I was doing well before I met you. But how come that everything just went down the drain? It's very simple. A soul tie is hidden somewhere there. Yeah, a soul tie, all right, deprives you of productivity. Because the man that you are laboring with physically, it's not the man that you are connected with emotionally and spiritually. So all that you are doing, it's going down the drain. It's like you are investing in a broken pocket. That's what you are doing. You see, so you must pay attention. It's a major sign you have to work out for. So after 5 years of marriage, what have you produced apart from children? What have you done? Because it said one shall put a fly to 1,000 and two shall put a fly to 10,000. That's what the scripture says. So if it's not working, it means that there's something inhibiting that scriptural experience. So you must pay attention to it. Most of the times, people are so tied to people before entering into a marriage. Yeah, so people make statements like, oh, even my ex-boyfriend, when I was with him, I used to do this, we used to do this business, and it works perfectly well. And the other guy too will say, well, when I was with my ex-girlfriend, we used to do this and it works perfectly well. And how come that is not working with two hard-working people? It's because a soul tie is tying your hands somewhere. Yes. So I pray that anything that is inhibiting your productivity be broken. Rejection and disappointment are natural causes of life. But when they become chronic happenings in your life, there is a cause to be worried. Now, look, soul tie, you see, inhibits the cohesion between you and your potential suitors. You see, that's one major thing that you have to pay attention to. Every man is designed to occupy one person per time. Every man is designed like that. So when somebody enters into you and remains there without leaving, spiritually and emotionally, what happens is that anybody who wants to get access into you will be rejected. Oh yeah. Just like a SIM card, when you slot in a SIM card in your phone, you know, it's designed for one SIM card, unless of course the China phone. But if it's just one SIM card and you are trying to put two SIMs into it, it doesn't work. It rejects it. It rejects it. So you see, soul tie is a knot that is tied. Okay, you are connected. You are cleaving to somebody spiritually and emotionally. So one sign to check is the chronic disappointments and rejections. Because there's somebody already occupying your heart. There's somebody seated right there. So anybody who will come will be rejected. Will be rejected. Some people don't cross 5 months. Some don't even cross 3 days. One girl told me that her relationship sometimes don't even cross 3 hours. Because you love somebody for around 3 o'clock and somewhere 6 o'clock, the feeling is gone, or something just happened. It doesn't work. So you see, chronic rejection and disappointment are clear signs of soul tie. You got to watch it. You got to pay attention to it. When it happens once, the second and the third, it's not a normal thing anymore. You have to stand up to it and deal with it. You have to deal with it. Yeah. I hear a lot of people say, I've fallen in love and I don't know what happened and I just fell out of love. So you see one person one moment so much in love, and the next moment he is out of love or she is out of love. And you ask yourself, is it the same person or is it a different person? You see, when that thing becomes consistent in your life, you should be suspecting a soul tie somewhere. You see, because a soul tie will constrain you to one person, and that's what it does. So spiritually, you are constrained to love one person. So all your affection, all your feelings, your emotions, your sacrifices, all the things that you are designed to do for love, it's will be constrained, okay, because a soul tie is somewhere. Matthew chapter 6, the verse 24 gives us a clearer submission on this. It said, no one can serve two masters at the same time. In other words, Jesus was trying to say, no one can love two people at the same time. He went on to say, either you would hate one and love the other. You will be devoted to one and despise the other. See, here he's trying to contrast love and hate. So you have a situation here. You want to love, but you end up hating because you are designed to love one person. You can't dish out the same love to two people at the same time. So, okay, because your soul is already tied somewhere. Somebody is taking all the love nutrients, and you can't serve two loves at the same time. You can only give out hate. You see the thing. So you are in a relationship. You are struggling to love the guy. You are struggling to love the girl. You know deep in your heart that this is my man, this is my woman, but you are struggling. Now, Paul said something. He said, I see a law working against me. If I want to go left, I end up going right. If I want to go right, I end up going left. You see, that's how soul tie works. You want to love, but you end up hating. You want to devote, you end up despising. Because there's a spiritual force, there's a gravitational pull that is taking you out of the place of love. So I dealt with a case where a man came to me and said, my wife doesn't really open up. We got married, and like just after the marriage, everything has just gone sour. She doesn't talk, she doesn't make love, she just lies down there. I lie on her, and you know what I'm trying to say. So there's no opening in this. There's no opening in the relationship and the marriage, and that's because the affection is directed somewhere else. Sometimes, even making love to a partner, some people envisage somebody else. It's a clear sign. It's a clear sign. You are in marriage right now. You are married to somebody, but you are in love with somebody else somewhere. So the loss of, I call it the loss of affection. It's a major sign. You see, having an affair in a dream and stuff like that. Then when you wake up, you're already satisfied. When your husband touches you, you don't want anything again. So you see a lot of anger. It's a sign. You see a lot of anger. Everything that he does, irritates you. Everything that he says irritates you. There's a soul tie in your life. The legit guy who does everything for you. Is buying your panties, is buying everything, literally everything, taking care of your kids, even by extension, taking care of your family, and yet you don't have any respect for him. You don't have any, you just don't like the guy. Yeah, you don't like the guy. You see, and that's because there's a soul tie that you go off. Some girls do go off, especially the girls, they just go off. Sometimes for months. It's a soul tie. You need to break out of that. It's a sign. Loss of affection. So some guys are not able to cope with it, so they just file for divorce. Like I said in my previous submission about symptoms and signs, even with symptoms and signs, they vary in their degree of importance. Look, something like malaria, okay? It's okay to have some headache, have some dizziness, but when you start vomiting blood, then it becomes a critical symptom. What I'm about to talk about is a critical symptom when it comes to soul tie. You see, a lot of people take for granted the losses in their lives. You see, a man boarded a ship, and suddenly people started losing things because he had a covenant with the God that he's supposed to go left, but he was going right. I'm talking about a Jonah. You see, this is the same principle that happens with soul tie, because a soul tie gives you directions. All right, so when you violate those directions, you have the consequences of those violations. So you see, when you are joined together with the false partner, okay, I'm using false because maybe a matchmaker feel that that's a false one. You see, what happens is that the keeper of that covenant becomes a police or becomes a monitoring spirit to that covenant. So anybody who is an encroacher, okay, anybody who is an imposter in that covenant becomes a victim of death or any form of casualty. I get it, what I'm trying to say. So you see, it's a deadly sign. It can lead to death, it can lead to terminal illnesses. Yes, so people get into a relationship and suddenly they lose their jobs, they lose their health, they lose major things, and even lose their lives. Yeah, they lose their life. It's a clear thing. You see, man at the well married 5 times and she could not sustain it. What happened to that woman? Why? Why is that they come and leave or they die? What happens to them? Clearly, there should be a reason, spiritual reason. So you see, you should pay attention. I know of a girl who lost 3 husbands, not boyfriends. 3 husbands. She married the first one, the second one, and the third one. All of them died. All of them died. You see, so you have to know how things are happening in your life. If you enter into a relationship and suddenly things start happening in the life of the other guy, or even your own life. I know people who become very sick when they enter into a relationship. Yeah. They become sick when they enter into a relationship. Because the keepers of the covenant, the keepers of the soul tie, are very aggressive. Yeah, some of them are very jealous, aggressive. These are not spiritual husbands. So, you see, soul tie is different from spiritual husband. Yeah. You see, one of those submissions or one of these love fix, I'm going to be talking about the mystery of spiritual husband. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about that. Before I make my last submission, I want you to just subscribe to our channel, like it, and share it, and leave a comment down there. What do you think about all that I'm saying? Can you identify yourself with it? Now, the last point I want to talk about is so critical. It's alarming how it's becoming difficult for people to make babies in our time. Well, people attribute it to lifestyle, but I think it's more than that. I think it's more than that. It's a soul tie is a subtle, powerful tool in the hands of the devil. You see, when you are entangling yourself with people, you are producing spiritual entities, like I did in my first submission. Every sexual contact produces something because sex is made to reproduce. If you are going about sleeping around, you are actually producing a lot of spiritual entities. And see, spiritual entities are very jealous and very territorial. Yeah. So what happens is that if you want to produce a legitimate child, a physical child, they stop it. Not the husband. That are the very children you are producing. Yeah. So you see people say, I have dreams of breastfeeding. I have dreams of people sucking my breast. I have children. I see myself giving birth. Those are spiritual babies. Yeah, those are spiritual babies, and you have to get up and rebuke them. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me carefully. If you have tried everything possible to get a child physically, it's not working. Look, just turn to God right now, because He is the only solution as it stands right now. If you have crossed the 3rd anniversary of your marriage and nothing seems to be happening, it means that there's a spiritual resistance somewhere, and you have to seek help. You have to seek help. God richly bless you.